Friends, welcome. Let's take a brief moment of quiet. No striving, just a simple turning within. Breathe, be here. We aren't gathered for more ideas about the infinite. We're here to touch what is already present. Tonight, I am is not a slogan. It is the living center of your being. When this is recognized, the urge to wrestle with life eases, fear loosens its grip, and the sense of lack begins to evaporate. We're not adding beliefs, we're uncovering identity. I won't ask you to accept anything. I'll ask you to notice. The awareness hearing these words is untroubled, spacious, quietly alive. If that is what you are, what could truly stand against you? What can be missing from the wholeness that is here before a thought is born? Walk with me for a few minutes as we explore what happens when I am is understood as experience, not concept, and let life reorganize around that recognition. If this resonates, please like the video, comment Lanhanvev to anchor Oneness, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Now shall we step further and test the one simple shift that makes struggle unnecessary? What appears when you stop adding anything at all to I am? Begin by letting the mind grow simple. Instead of grasping I am as a phrase, notice the plain sense of existing. Before a thought, before a role, there is an unadorned presence that knows it is. That is what we mean by I am. It is not a picture of yourself, not a story about your history, not an affirmation to convince the universe of anything. It is the light by which every thought, picture, story, and world is known. Ideas come and go, this knowing remains. To mistake the words for the living fact is to stare at a menu while the meal grows cold. When you quietly abide as this bare being, the urge to attach a predicate softens. Notice language rushing in. I am tired, I am afraid, I am successful, I am not enough. Each addition binds awareness to a condition and borrows its limits. Drop the additions for a moment. Leave I am unqualified. In the silence that follows, well, there is openness, a still brightness that does not shiver with every breeze. This is not passivity, it is sanity. From here, action flows cleanly, unforced, because it is not defending a costume. This I is not the ego that compares, resists, and collects. Ego is a bundle of borrowed labels. The I am is the clear sky in which those labels float. You can test this. Sit, feel the breath, and let the question arise, what is aware of breath? Don't answer with a name. Simply sense the awake space that is present. That awake space is not anxious, even when sensations of anxiety pass through. It is not broken. Even when memories of brokenness appear, you do not need to fix it, you need only to recognize it as your identity. Recognition is different from belief. Belief lives in the head and tries to hold on. Recognition is direct, effortless, like seeing the sun once the clouds move. When you recognize I am, you do not become superior, you become free of the need to be superior. You do not gain power over others. You discover you are not at the mercy of circumstances, because what you are is prior to them. This is the end of spiritual bargaining. We stop using truth to get things and let truth reveal that nothing essential is missing. Practice is simple. Several times a day, pause and feel the undeniable sense I exist. Keep it wordless. If thoughts add qualifiers, let them pass. Stand as the witnessing presence and let experience unfold. In relationships, listen from I am rather than from the defended mask. You will hear what is actually being asked for beneath the words. In work, act from I am and you will notice clarity replaces hurry. In difficulty, return to I am and find that peace is available before solutions. Over time, the center of gravity shifts from personality to presence. The world may not change on schedule, yet your way of being does. Fear still knocks, but it no longer owns the house. Pleasure still visits, but it is not your God. You live as the unchanging amid change, the light in which days and their dramas play, and you see identity was never an idea to polish, but a life already lived. From here the next movement is not more effort, but quiet. Silence first, revelation follows. Recognition of I am naturally inclines the heart to stillness, the way a needle bows toward true north. This silence is not a blankness you manufacture by squeezing out thoughts. It is the ease that appears when you stop leaning. You rest as the presence that is already aware, and in that rest, the surface of mind settles enough to reflect what is, instead of what is feared or desired. We tend to treat silence like a task. We grit the jaw, police the mind, and fail our own exam. Let that go. Silence is receptivity, not repression. It is the willingness to be here without commentary for a breath. 2:10. Sounds continue, sensations move, responsibilities wait their turn. And beneath it, there is a quiet floor you can feel under your feet. Touch that. It takes less time than scrolling a screen and yields more nourishment than another theory. Prayer becomes listening. Instead of telling life how it should arrange itself, we open our inner hands and allow the larger intelligence to disclose what is needed. Often it comes as a small nudge. Call her now, apologize, take the earlier train, say nothing, rest. This is revelation, not fireworks, but right seeing. It arrives with a signature simplicity, peace, and a gentle certainty that needs no defense. What rushes in with urgency or flattery rarely comes from silence. To honor silence first, create little thresholds in your day. Before you answer a message, close your eyes for one inhale and one exhale. Before a meeting, feel the soles of your feet until you notice warmth. On waking, sit upright for 3 minutes and let attention drop from head to heart to belly. In the heat of emotion, put one palm on the chest and wait until the breath finds its rhythm again. These small loyalties to quiet invite larger revelations because the channel is clear. Bring the same stance into relationship. Listen beyond the words to the being speaking. In the pause after someone finishes, notice what compassion suggests, not what defensiveness demands. Silence reveals what love intends in that moment. Sometimes a clear boundary, sometimes a softening, sometimes the wisdom to refrain. You will find that fewer words carry more truth, and the truth lands because it rose from a still place. Creativity lives here as well. How many solutions appear after a walk, a shower, a cup laid down on the windowsill while you look at the sky? We think we solved it by effort. In fact, we stepped back enough for the right pattern to show itself. Make it a habit to leave questions in the silence overnight and see what your first clean glance in the morning knows before the day's noise assembles. Silence is not an escape from pain, but the space that holds it without panic. When grief, anger, or fear surge, meet them in the sanctuary of awareness. Let the body tremble, breathe, and stay nearby as a steady friend. In that allowed quiet, emotion reveals its message and passes. What is true remains quietly bright. And if the world is loud, practice anyway. The silence we mean lies beneath sound, like the sea below waves. As the quiet grows familiar, something unexpected appears. What you took to be a private silence inside your head is not private. It is the same open presence in which the room stands, the same stillness that holds the sounds of traffic, the same awareness that notices a thought and the bird on the fence in a single glance. Inside and outside begin to lose their hard edges. Awareness is not sealed behind your eyes, it is the field in which eyes, sights, thoughts, and feelings arise. The sense of a separate knower softens, and with it the exhausting need to guard, defend, and perform. No separation, one presence, does not flatten life into a grey sameness. It reveals a unity that includes every nuance, many notes, one music, many faces, one light. Each person remains distinct but not divided. Try this now. Listen to any sound and ask, where is the border between hearing and the sound heard? Or look at your hand, where exactly does world end and me begin? The line cannot be located because it is imagined. What you are is the clear seeing in which both hand and world appear and move. The belief in separation breeds two powers, something to fear and something to grasp. In one presence, that split dissolves. There is not a competing force against what you are, there is only the life you are, expressing as changing circumstances. This does not mean passivity. It means action without the poison of enmity. You can confront injustice, set boundaries, Speak truth, precisely because you are not acting on behalf of a threatened self, but as the movement of the same life that animates all. Firmness without hatred becomes possible when you see there is no or other to defeat, only confusion to meet with clarity. Let this recognition enter ordinary moments. When you greet a stranger, meet them as the same presence wearing another pattern. When a loved one is upset, notice the one awareness in which your discomfort and their words arise, and let that shared ground soften your reactivity. In crowded places, feel the atmosphere of being that holds every body and breath, and let your nervous system take its cue from that larger stillness. Doing so does not erase difference. It removes the invisible fence that keeps compassion on a leash. Forgiveness ripens naturally here. If we are one in essence, then every harmful act is a case of mistaken identity, someone acting from a contraction, forgetting their own light. You can still seek repair, justice, or distance, what the heart stays unknotted. You refuse to carry the hot coal of resentment because it burns the hand that holds it. One presence is practical. It frees energy for wise response instead of feeding the drama of separation. Make it a living inquiry. As you move through your day, ask gently, is there truly a boundary in awareness right now? Let the question dissolve into looking. Sense the shared life in a tree, a dog's eyes, the cashier's tired smile, the quiet in a hospital corridor. Notice how fear loses fuel when it cannot find an enemy outside the self, and how gratitude arises for no reason other than being. From here, the compulsion to drive your life like a hard cart up a hill begins to loosen. Strain loses its logic. The old engine of "make it happen" is seen as a remnant of separation, an attempt to secure what already belongs to the one presence. Grace over will and effort does not mean laziness, it means right reliance. The life that is aware as you is the door, and you are its openness. You still write the email, keep the promise, clean the sink. What shifts is the power source. Instead of pushing from fear, you are moved by a quiet certainty that needs no self-congratulation. Grace is not a reward for virtue, it is the nature of the one acting as your life. You recognize it by its signature simplicity, peace, and timing that feels unforced. The right door opens or remains closed without drama, and both are guidance. What arrives by willfulness carries a residue of tension. Clenched jaw, rushed breath, a story about proving worth. What arrives by grace carries clarity and enoughness. You are not amped, you are available. Practice the turn from effort to grace in small ways. Before decisions, pause until the mind is not shouting. Ask inwardly, what is already moving here without my pushing? Notice the next honest step that feels clean rather than grand. Consent to that step and only that. In conversation, allow a breath between impulse and speech. You may find fewer words say more because they are given, not grabbed. In finances or work, act from integrity now, and let outcomes ripen in their season. Grace does not bargain with fear's calendar. Let go of using truth as technique. We do not declare spiritual ideas to coerce outcomes. We rest in truth to see what already is. This rest is the atmosphere in which guidance is heard. Often grace redirects with a gentle no, not this client, not this hour, not this argument. Respect the no without calling it failure. The no is love saving you from misalignment, creating space for the yes that fits. When a yes comes, it comes with provision. The inner and outer supports appear as quietly as dawn. In relationship, grace softens the urge to fix or win. You sense the movement of love that wants healing more than victory. Sometimes grace speaks a boundary, sometimes it offers an apology before justification forms. Sometimes it keeps silence and lets space do the teaching. Because you are not powered by self-protection, you can be firm without hardness, tender without collapse. You discover that reconciliation often blossoms when you stop trying to engineer it. Effort still has its place, bodies sweat, skills sharpen, seeds are watered, but the strain of self-creation drops away. Think of hoisting a sail instead of rowing against the wind. Your part is attention and willingness. The wind is not yours to manufacture. If nothing seems to move, remain faithful to the quiet. Do the next simple task in front of you and refuse the theater of panic. Panic is the mind's attempt to regain control. Grace is the heart's willingness to be carried. A useful test arises in the moment. Is this action born of contraction or of spaciousness? If contraction, wait or simplify. If spaciousness, proceed and let results be what they are. Return often to I am, then act. Over time you will notice an economy of effort, a sobriety and sweetness to the way life arranges itself. When the door is the presence, rather than the personatis ripens, into a new stance be the witness, not the waves. Thoughts crest and fall, moods color the hour, circumstances shift like weather, and yet the clear knowing of them remains untouched. Sit for a moment and verify. A thought arises, plan, worry, memory. Notice that you are aware of it. The awareness is calm even if the thought is not. A feeling flares in the chest. You are aware of it. The awareness is spacious even as the sensation pulses. This is not theory, it is the plainest fact of experience. You are the seeing, not the seen. To live as witness is not to deny experience, it is to hold it rightly. Waves are allowed to dance without being mistaken for the ocean. When fear comes, let it come as a movement in the great space of you. When joy visits, welcome it without clutching. When boredom appears, include it without complaint. Identification tightens the knot. I am afraid. I am unworthy. I am stuck. Witnessing loosens the knot. Fear is present. A story of unworthiness is moving through. Stuckness is being perceived. The shift in language reflects a shift in being. Do not confuse witnessing with apathy. The witness is intimate with life, not distant from it. It feels fully, listens deeply, and acts cleanly because it is not fused with the storm it is meeting. From witness you can speak a hard truth without venom, cry without drowning, negotiate without panic, and rest in the middle of unfinished business. Compassion grows here because you see that everyone's waves rise and fall on the same sea. Make this practical. In any surge, name what is happening in simple terms. Heat in the belly, tightness in the throat, images of failure, urge to interrupt. Then take one unforced exhale longer than the inhale. Soften the jaw and the belly. Feel the soles of your feet. Keep attention wide enough to include the room while the sensation does what it does. If words must be spoken, let them come after the exhale, not before. If action is needed, choose the next small honest step rather than the grand gesture fueled by adrenaline. Bring witnessing into ordinary tasks. Wash a dish and notice the warmth. The slip of water, the play of light on porcelain, thoughts drifting by like clouds. Write an email while sensing the breath in the back of the body. You'll hear what actually needs to be said. Drive and rest as the open field in which sounds, sights and steering arise. The nervous system begins to trust that safety is not only in control, but in awareness itself. When pain visits, physical or emotional, anchor gently in the witness. Pain is here. I am the awareness that knows pain. This simple truth does not erase sensation, it prevents the second arrow of identification. Often the body's defenses soften when they are seen without resistance. If the storm is big, widen the frame, let attention include the whole body, the sounds in the space, the horizon at the edge of your vision, and notice that even the biggest wave occupies only a portion of the sea. Let the inquiry accompany you. Am I the change or the changeless knowing in which change appears? Notice how behavior matures when you stop arguing with weather and start sailing with it. Adjusting the trim, feeling the wind. Letting grace be the current while you remain as the open sky, through which everything moves. From that open sky, let life be lived. Live the infinite in the ordinary. Not by reaching for peak experiences, but by letting the light of I am infuse small moments until nothing is small. Begin where you are. The infinite is not hiding behind a mountain or a mantra. It is the quiet aliveness, looking through your eyes, stirring your breath, animating your hands on the doorknob. Sanctity is not a separate room in your house. It is the room you're in. seen from the heart that knows itself as presence. When you wake, feel the I am before the day assembles. Feet touch the floor. Pause. Receive the weight and the support. Making the bed becomes an act of alignment, smoothing the sheet as you would smooth the mind. Let water on your face be a blessing rather than a rush. Coffee or tea is warmth in the chest, the scent rising, an invitation to inhabit the body kindly. 1 minute of unhurried being flavors the whole morning with a sweetness you didn't add. Carry this into work. Before opening the inbox, rest in the sense of existence, then let the first task present itself. Type from steadiness instead of speed. Clarity replaces extra words. In meetings, listen for the intention beneath the surface and speak from that depth. Presence is efficient. Notice how guidance arranges timing. One call falls away, another arrives, a knot loosens without argument. You do your part with care, and the rest is yielded to the larger choreography already in motion. Let chores be liturgy. Wash dishes as though polishing the mirror of mind. Warmth, weight, the small chime of porcelain. Sweep the floor and feel each stroke as the breath of the house. When you pay a bill, add a quiet thank you for the flow that makes exchange possible. Money becomes a current of service rather than a measure of fear. Organize a drawer with affection for the life it supports. Simplicity is not deprivation, it is room for grace to circulate in relationship. Let the infinite speak in ordinary kindness. Look into eyes long enough to be moved. Say the honest, simple thing rather than the clever thing. Apologize before the courtroom opens in your head. Offer your full attention as a gift more valuable than opinion. Touch a shoulder with the understanding that this life and yours share one heart. Boundaries arise from love of truth, not from punishment, and they land without the barbs that keep cycles turning in the noise of the street. Sirens, engines, voices. Feel the steady hum of being underneath sound. Stand in a line and practice receiving the moment instead of resisting its souls on the floor, breath low and soft, the glow of light on a window. The quiet fraternity of people waiting. When plans change or delays appear, treat them as cloisters where you can return to I am. A spill is just a chance to clean. A mistake is a nudge back to alignment. Fatigue is a bell calling you to rest without guilt. Seed your day with simple sacraments. A 3-breath pause at thresholds, doorways, browser tabs, conversations. A single mindful bite at the start of each meal, tasting what you usually swallow whole. A brief blessing for every name you speak. May the one in you know itself. Put the phone down as if setting a chalice on a table. Walk a little slower than your hurry, just enough to feel the world touch you back. Let gratitude arise unprompted and pass unpossessed, like birds lifting from a field. And notice how the infinite proves itself, not in spectacle, but in the quiet rightness of the next ordinary act.